It's with great sadness that I wanted to give a memorial to my dear friend and colleague and mentor, Alan Scheflin, who at the age of 81 passed away. And it's really sad because he was an amazing human being. So I just wanted to share some thoughts and feelings. And if you don't know who Alan Scheflin is, he was a law professor emeritus at Santa Clara University. He was a forensic expert. He had a master's in psychology and counseling. He was a world authority on hypnosis. And reflecting back, after my exit of the Moonies in 1976, I was on a quest to understand brainwashing and mind control. And I learned about this book that he authored with Edward Opton Jr. on MK Ultra. And Alan had done Freedom of Information Act suits, and I believe that was the first or second book about MK Ultra. Certainly the most academic. I believe John Marks wrote a book called In Search of the Manchurian Candidate. But Alan was deeply invested in the notion that wrongdoing should be held up to the light, people should be held accountable. And he also was a master at analyzing things. He was absolutely brilliant. So in 1978, when the Mind Manipulators came out, I wrote to him. He was in San Francisco at Santa Clara, and we started a relationship. Later, he introduced me to Daniel P. Brown, forensic psychologist, who became one of my main teachers when I got my master's in counseling psychology in 1985. And Alan and Daniel and Corey Hammond wrote this very important textbook that won, I think, 16 awards, including the Guttmacher Award, Memory, Trauma, Treatment, and the Law. And big book, very, very important book. And Alan just was a deeply analytic person, a progressive who wanted to help people. And he created the social influence model, which I included in my doctoral dissertation. You can't really see it, but I can hold it up that way. But he created this social influence model that looks at influencee and their vulnerabilities, the influencer or the predator or the predatory organization, and created a model for analyzing all the factors in a social influence process. Because analyzing mind control or coercive control or brainwashing, it needs to be more than just interviewing a single person. One needs to look at the whole picture and understand the forces involved. And so I included it in my framework for updating the law. So if you're an attorney or interested in legal issues or interested in activism, his model is exceptionally important. My good friend and colleague, John Atack, who is best known as an ex-Scientologist who wrote Let's Sell Them a Piece of Blue Sky, wrote this excellent volume and included perhaps the most robust explanation of Alan Scheflin's model. So I wanted to hold that up as well. Alan was funny. Alan had a love of movies, jazz, and music, kept up with politics, and many, many times when I was getting harassed or threats of lawsuits, he was coaching me pro bono, advising me, and teaching me. I learned from Matthew Bywater, who is making an effort to create freedom of mind as an international human right, who asked me, when did you first hear the term freedom of mind? And I didn't remember. And he pointed out that Alan Scheflin wrote an article about human rights using those very words. So it's very possible that the origin of the use of the term freedom of mind comes from my dear friend Alan. Alan and I were working on 2 chapters together for the International Society of Hypnosis clinical textbook on the dark side of hypnosis. And fortunately, we were able to complete this project last year, 2022, just before he had a stroke, which led to his ultimate demise and lack of ability to continue to do the vital work that he and I were embarked on, which is to update the law regarding undue influence. I should also say that he was president of the International Cultic Studies Association, later on the board of directors. And so he was a do-gooder and a man who had a powerful intellect and who lamented the horrible political situation that we've currently gotten ourselves into, but a big fan of my work and the work of anyone who's trying to shed a light on the issue of undue influence, brainwashing, mind control, thought control, coercive control. And of course, in my dissertation, I connect the dots with trafficking itself, labor and sex trafficking. So Alan leaves his loving wife, Jamie, and his beloved daughter, Holly. And this is a great loss for humankind. But I would like to invite you to freedomofmind.com, and I have a video up of, I believe, the only time he and I gave a public talk together. I have a number of blogs about him and about his social influence model. And I just want people to remember him as a giant man who just contributed an incredible amount to our understanding of hypnosis and brainwashing and mind control. And may he rest in peace. Thanks.